4, 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of NomadLand. We have two guests tonight for the first time, two special guests, and I'll let Yaya take off.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode of NomadLand. It's a pleasure to have you guys back to your home, to my home, to our home. We're hoping to have another beautiful episode with some wonderful guests, a mother and son, a special one, and his name is
Tabay Atkins. Hi, everyone.
Ooh, welcome.
Hey,
welcome to the show.
Woo. Thank you.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, the man.
and please introduce yourself as well.
Sahel and Vari Najad.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Woo. Now, Tabay is the youngest yoga instructor in the world.
Yes.
Has there anybody else? Is anybody coming for your record right now or no?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of?
I saw this video on YouTube. This 5-year-old was doing yoga. Might be coming for you. Competition on the rise.
We've got 3-year-old students.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
there's a difference.
3-year-old?
Of course.
3-year-old student?
Yeah, I started because we have a kids yoga studio, and the youngest I have is a 3-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they're actually very...
They're-
They know what they're doing?
When they started, they were 2 years old.
Yeah.
Is that
Not
right?
Eli, one of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
But
from summer
That's
camp
cool.
one time.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's right.
How old were you when you started?
When I was 6 years old, I started practicing yoga.
Mm.
And it's the same time that my mom started practicing yoga.
So pretty much you guys started together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I know your story, and I know everybody else probably does as well, but a lot of people that are going to be watching us, they don't. So I usually don't like retelling stories, but you seem much better than I am because I watched your videos. So please try to do your best in re-explaining and retelling the story.
Okay. When I was 6 years old, my mom was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer.
Mhm.
And she did intensive chemotherapy, which broke her body down.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't walk on her own. And and when she beat cancer, she was just 2 weeks cancer free, and she's never done yoga in her life before.
Mm-hmm.
And she accidentally got into a 200-hour vinyasa teacher training.
Accidentally.
That's awesome.
I'll tell
That's not the
that
kind of
story.
stuff. That's not the kind of things I get into accidentally. Very different.
She's just
Yeah.
walking down the street and she's like, hey,
No.
200 hours.
No, that's actually a pretty cool part of
Yeah.
the story. I'll tell you how I got into it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine at the time, she wanted me to meet somebody who was her teacher, just to connect as someone for support, because her mom had cancer, who she passed away.
Okay.
And then she had a sister who was going through it, and who later passed away. And so for months she was trying to just connect with me to make me feel better, because I was like super sad and
Just
down.
emotional support.
I was scared, but I never reached out to her because I was just didn't want to talk to anyone. I was like, I was tired of people saying, "How are you?" Well, how do you think I am?
Yeah.
I'm having, I'm dying.
How long were you dealing with that?
Well, I was misdiagnosed for 8 months, and by the time I was diagnosed, I had stage 3, and my neck was out to here.
Wow.
That
Oh
was
my
April
gosh.
20th when I was diagnosed, my mom's birthday.
Mhm.
Is that how
And-
you found out about it?
With my neck, or
Just cancer.
well, I kept going into the doctors, and they kept telling me, you have a cold, here's some antibiotics.
Wow.
Then I went back in, and they said, you have the flu, you have bronchitis, you have arthritis, anything and everything, an ear infection, anything but that. And I thought, it's so weird. And then my neck just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I was losing a lot of weight. By April, I had lost 20 pounds in 3
Wow.
weeks. I was 100 pounds.
And this was just one doctor that was telling you that?
Yeah, I
Oh.
didn't know at that time. You
Yeah.
should get. I didn't go to
Get a
school to be a
second, third
doctor.
opinions,
He's a
yeah.
doctor. He should know.
And
what
you
he's
never went
talking
on
about.
Google?
At this time, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I just was like, wow, it's so weird, because I'm a person who don't like to take any kind of medicine.
Yeah.
So if I have to, I get better after like halfway through my
Right.
antibiotics. And
Some ginger shots and you're good.
yeah, like hot water, lemon, ginger, like that's like
Little bit of
I don't
honey.
even take NyQuil, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I feel better, but I was like, how am I getting worse? But I didn't want to complain, and it was just cold symptoms. But then I got very weak and very tired, and my parents came over, and then I could barely talk. And then I Googled my symptoms, and it showed that I had 6 out of 8 symptoms of this cancer that I had never heard of. I couldn't even pronounce, and I went to my doctor and I printed it out and I said, hey, can you just test me?
Then I'm sorry. So the next day you went to the doctor.
Yeah.
And were you able to sleep that night?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I was sweating at night. It was really bad. I was having a lot of pain. It was really, really, really hard for me. And I went in the next day and he still didn't tell me. He said, oh, you're young, you're healthy, you don't have cancer, get out of here. Because I had never taken
his
a puff
ego.
of a
He's trying to convince you.
On paper, I'm like super healthy. I ate good. I worked out 4 times a week. I never did drugs. I barely drank. So he was like, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's like, have I just lost my marbles?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, and I said, why is my neck getting bigger? And he said, it's the thyroid issue. Like, it'll be fine. I'll give you some medication. And then it got to a point where my parents came to visit us, and I took a sip of water and I was choking, and I couldn't even like swallow a sip of water, and I couldn't move. And then she took me, and then they said, yeah, I had cancer. And
how do they tell you that? Like, what do they do? You just did in person? And I'm sorry for bringing these up.
It's fine. No, it's fine. He actually, you should bring the person in and tell you in person. I've never heard of any story that someone tells you over the phone, but my doctor, my mom took me to the doctor. She's like, you're gonna check my daughter again. This is not anything that you're saying. There's something wrong with her. And 33-year-old girl or 32-year-olds, you can't be like this unhealthy. There's something wrong. And so he had me go then do an ultrasound because my mom was so pushy. And then he called me on the phone, and right as we were cutting my mom's cake, and he said, yeah, I'm sorry, you're right, you have cancer. And I was like, and it was me and my parents, and I think he was at school, he was in 1st grade, and
I don't know.
Do you remember being there?
Because I was the one that cooked the cake.
Oh, that's right. You did make the cake.
At 6?
Yeah. Oh my God, he's a little chef.
That's
awesome. And
that's
so
awesome.
I said, well, what do I do now? And he said, well, this is on a Friday. He said, just wait till next week, and an oncologist will get a hold of you. Well, I didn't even know what a dermatologist was, let alone an oncologist. I was like, a who? And so we get off the phone. My mom calls her brother-in-law, and
what's going on in your head at that time? What's happening?
I didn't really understand cancer. I thought everything was pink, like breast cancer. I didn't know that there's so many types of cancer.
And you're like, probably it's something that happens to people.
I was so weak, and and then everyone around me is talking, and I just was
weak. How?
Well, my body was physically weak for all these months because I was 100 pounds now. So I was like, I could barely move.
And did you like healthy lifestyle in general?
Well, as I'm saying, I never even took a puff of a cigarette. I've to this day never tasted
Exercise,
coffee.
You should try.
I worked out like almost every day of the week. I ate really good. I haven't had red meat or pork since I was 16. I haven't had soda since I was 15. Like, I'm super healthy. But cancer doesn't discriminate, and
it doesn't.
So when I went to the hospital, they took me there, and I was like, still like, Mom, don't worry. He said next week someone will call me. She's like, are you kidding me? So they took me to the ER, and they checked me, and they did biopsy, and they started cutting me and everything, and I was scared for that. I was like, what? I'm gonna have a scar? And then they're like, that's like, they knew I didn't
Don't worry about that.
But I didn't get it.
About.
Yeah, my poor everything. Yeah.
So hold on.
One thing after another.
Let me ask. So you were still asking my scar. You're not thinking.
At this time at the hospital, I'm like, well, you guys are gonna cut me. Am I gonna have a scar on my neck? And and then they're like, we need to do this. But I just didn't understand like how serious it was.
That's interesting.
So when they did the biopsy, they came back and said, had I not come in that Friday, I wouldn't have made it. But just imagine, I'm having a sip of water, and I'm choking because my tumors were now the size of softballs.
Wow.
And it's my neck. So you're breathing here, and it's not that much room. And it was growing slowly, like in the 8 months, but then it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they told me you might lose your hair, and you're gonna have to eat
See,
chemo.
that's the problem I have with cancer, and I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
So as soon as something happens, I'm like, I just call him, and I'm like, I think I have cancer. So he goes on Google and he comes back, is like, no,
you don't have cancer. You're fine.
and mainly because of my hair. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Right.
I'm not even comfortable him having better hair than I do right now. By the way,
I have to tell you, that was huge for me because I used to have super
her hair was all the way down to like her thighs.
Yeah, my hair was long, thick, curly, like crazy hair. Like I couldn't like one like scrunchie would barely like cover my hair. It was like so much. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you know, and then I just remember being in the bed at the hospital, and my dad was with me, and then I just remember going like this one time, like kind of just
Coming
normal,
out.
and one time it was just a little bit, like if you take a shower, like how like a little bit of your hair comes out normal, but it made me feel so weird and weak, thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't want like patches of hair to come out. So I made the decision to
Just
shave
take it all off.
and I never cut my hair. I always had long hair, and I remember he did it with me to support me, and my
I saw the
dad
photos
and
of
my
that.
brother. And
I was gonna say my dad, but he doesn't have any.
yeah, he's bald.
It looked good on you, though. I saw the pictures. You had
Oh,
like this Natalie
really?
Portman thing going on, you know,
Oh,
not the Britney
thanks.
Spears thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it was very, it was hard for me for a long time. Like every time I looked at myself, I would just cry, and I was sad, and I was like, I don't want to die.
Well, I mean, at this point, you knew you had cancer. In general, you must be a very positive person to, I mean,
I was
all the
when
way
he
through
was
and
there.
everything,
Oh.
not being worried. Because a lot of people, like he was just talking about himself,
Yeah.
smallest thing happens, they think of the worst
Right.
possible thing.
No,
So,
don't do that. It's really
Yeah.
bad. It's really, I know, don't be like this, because if you don't want that to happen, you gotta have good thoughts. So
And
what
I'm
you
and I'm
put
like
out
that with
there,
everything.
good energy. And even if
But
something
it's very
is wrong,
hard with medical stuff. I can't. I don't know why.
Well, you should practice that. It should be like a, I don't know, like a affirmation you tell yourself every morning and every night.
Yeah.
Because what you put out there, it'll happen.
It
And you don't
manifests.
want to keep
Yeah.
on having that thought. So I had, you know, I lost my hair, and then, so I shaved it, and the rest of it went. And then I just remember going to the bathroom one time at the hospital, and I was like, I called my brother. I was like, oh my gosh, my eyelashes are falling. He's like, no, Sal, you're exaggerating. And then I took a nap, and I woke back up, and I had no eyebrows, 0 eyelashes, and I freaked
within
out.
a nap?
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, like it was like, I was like, I feel like there's like 2 or 3 eyelashes here, you know, and then I feel like my eyebrows are gone. And he was like, no, like, just, you're fine. Like, you're not going to lose any more hair. And I literally woke up by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Everything was gone.
Everything. And I was scared looking at myself, because I was like, oh my gosh. And he would come in, and
That's
he's like,
heavy.
Mom, you're so beautiful
Oh.
and sweet. And then I remember they put the port, the first hospital, they put the port where I had my chemo on my chest. So I had 3 chemo therapy in Fresno. This is where they misdiagnosed
What did they
me.
actually do?
The
Chemotherapy.
Well, I basically lived in the hospital. Like I didn't go in and out. I was so bad that I couldn't leave the hospital. And I could.
It's like injections and radiation. Is that
I
what
didn't
it
do
is?
radiation. I did chemotherapy. So it's like a 10-hour a day infusion of different things that make you lose your hair and
Cocktail
everything
of-
else.
yeah.
Yeah. And instead of doing it like through just like a needle poking me every day, I had surgery, and they put a portacath in me. And so I had 3 chemos there, and my cousin Terry, she convinced me to move back to Orange County. And I wanted to, but I was weak, and thinking about a 4-hour drive, I was scared. I was like, what if I die on the way, or what if something happens to me? So I made an appointment at Cedars-Sinai. Thank God for everything, because I was scheduled for my 4th chemo in Fresno on Thursday. Wednesday, I had my appointment at Cedars-Sinai. They did a PET CT scan, rushed me to the hospital. I had to have emergency surgery because Fresno had put the port in the wrong place. So the whole time I was getting chemo in my liver.
Oh my
So by the way, I haven't said this part
Unbelievable.
on like any show. Like, this is the first time I've gotten like into like details.
You want to talk about these messed up
And-
doctors too?
Yeah, and
The amount of mistakes they make.
and my oncologist, Cedars-Sinai, was like, I don't, because in Fresno, the doctor laughed at me like, huh, what was the point of you being so healthy and not, you know, drinking or smoking? And then my oncologist in Cedars-Sinai said, it was because you're so healthy, you were able to, you're here. Because imagine getting chemo in your liver where that's not where I needed
Is
it.
that's
Yeah.
really what the doctor told you? Is like, what was the point of being healthy?
Yeah, in Fresno, because
And this was a
he-
chubby, unhealthy doctor, right? Must have been.
He was a Persian doctor, actually.
Yeah.
And then the oncologist
Persians
wasn't.
shouldn't
The
be doctors.
oncologist wasn't Persian, but because you know, he asked me, do you have any questions? And again, this is when I didn't know anything. I was like, well, if I want to have kids later, will I be able to? That was my first question. And he's like, didn't you just tell me you don't even have a boyfriend or you're not married? Like, and I felt so embarrassed. Like, what kind of dumb question was that?
Yeah.
But when I read the cancer paper, that is the first question for women if they want to have a baby in the future. That's the first thing they should tell them, to freeze whatever you got to freeze
Yeah.
and do everything.
Preserve it.
But my oncologist, Cedars-Sinai, who I am obsessed with, and he's seriously my hero. It was one thing after another. Like in Fresno, had I not gone on there on the 20th, Saturday I wouldn't have been alive. Then they did this, and my oncologist said one more chemo, it would have killed you. And everyone would have thought it was cancer that killed you.
Wow.
And then
Shout out to that
and
doctor.
then I had blood transfusion after blood transfusion, and then I could barely walk.
Wow.
And
this was at the Cedars-Sinai in West Hollywood?
In
The
Beverly
one in
Hills,
LA,
yeah.
Okay, same
Yeah.
one, yeah. My dad was there for a couple of nights last week. It's a great
really?
hospital.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Everything is amazing.
It is.
They're so nice. And so that's how I was diagnosed. And then, during it, I was not, I was just really down, and scared. And being a single mom, and him and I are like, we're so close. Like, he's my everything. And I was scared, but I never let him see that. And anytime he would come in, that would be the only time I was like, yeah, I'm
But you already knew
great.
she was sad, really, right?
Well,
You could sense it.
I didn't really know what was going on for part of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
He was 6. He was.
How much did you know? How did you feel? I mean, just going and seeing your mom at the hospital all the time.
At the beginning, when I couldn't see her, I was thinking, why can't I see my mom? Because I didn't know. And and my dad was reading to me all these books about like how my mommy lost her hair, or my mommy has cancer.
Like kid
yeah.
books to help them understand.
Prepare you.
And like looking up things about cancer for kids.
And you would pay attention when he was reading to you?
Yeah.
And it made sense to you?
Yeah. And then
he's like, "Where's all your beautiful hair, Mama June?" No, he didn't ask.
What playing with your fro?
Your fan.
Why don't you got some of this? How much did his presence make the process easier for you in terms of resiliency and strength?
Well,
how would it be if he wasn't there in the picture? I mean, it's hard to say, right?
No,
but
it's not hard to say.
Yeah.
He literally, I fought, and I just went through everything I went through at the like as hard as it was, as sad as I was like, I've gotta live for this one. Like, he is my everything. I need to be there at his big Persian wedding with the girl that I choose for him.
Of course, right.
I want you to go back to this. I know that I cared. I told you to be careful.
Even though I was born here, I'm very, very much
Persian mom.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
He wants to hear the.
she made a rule for me. She said, and before all of this, she said, she said, you can have, you're only allowed to have dates when you're 30, and then you can and then you can marry at 35. And she said, or when you have enough money to provide for a family. And then
with the way you're going, you'll have it at 14.
Exactly.
And then
just hold on to that clause.
On the TV show, we said on the TV show, and then I said, "Mom, you have to.
You might want to change
the last
rule
part
because that's about to happen right now."
That's funny.
Do you have groupies?
Smart kid.
What?
Do you have groupies? I'm kidding.
Good. Thank you. Let's keep it G.
Are you gonna get a Persian wife or what?
Well,
Don't rush it.
Tell him what you said. How you're gonna snuggle me forever?
Oh, I said
because he loves to snuggle with me.
And I said
that's gonna change. In a year or
Eventually.
two probably. And he's like, "No, Mama June,
I'm going to snuggle with you until I'm an adult."
And then I said, "How about when you're married? What'd you say you're gonna do? Remember this. I want all this recorded, guys."
And I said, I'm going to say, sorry, I have to snuggle with my mom tonight.
Your future wife is going to use this against you for sure. This video right here is going to come up many times.
time.
It's going to come up many times.
Oh, you know it will come up.
That's really good.
We'll take this part out.
It's cute.
I know.
It is cute.
I'm half joking. Maybe 29.
30 is the cutoff. They're done.
Right.
Up to
What
29.
does Tabay mean?
Tabay. That's his
Tabay.
middle name.
We've been trying to figure that out for years.
For 12 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So where does it come from?
We don't know what it means or where it comes from.
He is Tabay because his dad is the third, and he had an uncle who passed away who was junior, and then his grandpa is Larry Tabay Atkins Sr.
Okay.
So so his dad, when we had him, he's like, of course I want him to be the fourth, and I said only if we
Larry
can call,
Atkins.
Yeah, I said as long as we call him by his middle name, not Larry. He doesn't look a
Yeah,
Larry.
yeah.
I don't like the Larry.
Larry, yeah, you don't want to be
know?
Larry.
So he looks like a Tabay, and it's a cool name.
It is
so,
a
And
very
I
cool
remember in English class, we had to do a research project to find out what our names meant. I was like, uh-oh.
no, it's like a place. Is
but
what
then
we found.
when I was doing research, I found it said Tabay, exact same spelling, is I think like a city in South America.
Really?
Yeah,
Sounds cultural.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your dad, he was a football player?
yeah, he's a former
For 5
NFL
years, right?
player.
Mm. And
5 years with the Chiefs and 1 year with the Raiders.
okay. And I noticed that never came up in any of the interviews. That was interesting.
It did. It did on CNN.
Oh, is that right?
On CNN, I think, because
I have a picture of him.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
that's
it?
cool. Yeah, I think I saw it in
Hey,
another,
show it up
another
to the
interview
camera.
too, in
Oh,
another
that's
video.
yeah, on the newspapers and magazines.
That's
If
awesome.
he's around, like
Yogi,
you know.
Show the cam.
But the thing is, like,
Yeah.
one of the times that it was brought up on CNN was because he said that in training camp, like they go through like vigorous like
Yeah.
workouts and
Right.
trainings, but nothing was as hard as yoga.
And it was
It's
I had
tough.
to teach him a 1.5 hour 1.5 hour class
Mhm.
Yeah.
in order to complete my 200-hour training.
Okay.
And so we had to all the people had to choose someone to bring in to teach them, and I chose my dad.
he chose the hardest person. That's
Yeah,
a hard student.
and everyone else was like choosing people that
Knew
who's-
yoga,
yeah,
you know?
who's done yoga.
Yeah.
But I chose my dad. The funny thing was that as I was teaching, my mom had to run from where I was teaching back to the bathroom back here
Yeah,
there
yeah.
to get paper towels to wipe the sweat off his head
He
off
a
the mat.
roll of paper towels.
That's
he
so
was
funny.
sweating so
I'm like
much.
that too. Yeah, people who don't do yoga, they really don't realize how hard it is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he does hot yoga?
I know, right?
He'll be tripping.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he's been doing
I
it
did
with
that
him
once.
for a few months now, consistently. And now, if you see, he was in one of the interviews with us, and he's sitting down there, and he couldn't even sit.
Couldn't even sit cross-legged.
cross-legged.
He's
And
got
now-
big muscles too, so it makes it
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah.
But now he's like, you can see such a difference. So, it's yoga's
And
good
my
for.
grandpa.
Yeah.
And Bubba
yeah.
Jim,
Two things that
yeah.
people don't know who don't do yoga is how hard it is and how beneficial it is. you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Even my
Yeah.
dad, who's 74 and he's never done. He doesn't. He's I mean, he doesn't look like he's not overweight or anything, but he's not a golfer. He goes to like work and then go home,
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
CNN, and has his warm-up abs or whatever.
Yeah.
and
Gotta
and
squeeze
then
in the saps.
and then Tabay's like, come to my class, Bubba June, and he couldn't even do like halfway lift or something. Like he
Yeah,
couldn't
he-
forward fold,
This is as far as he could go down.
and
And
now.
then now he can do a full forward.
Yeah.
fold.
Wow.
Way
That's
better, more than I
amazing.
can.
Yeah,
amazing.
and he sleeps better now, and he doesn't need to take all the medications that the doctors give him for sleep and for this and for that. So
Wow.
yoga is incredible.
Now, I have a question for you. Tabay's got like this saint-like energy, right?
Yeah.
Did you always have it, or do you think you had something to do with it? Because some people say like just some people are born that way, and some people say the parents are very important. I'm sure it's a little bit of both, but he was special right from the womb, right?
Right away, yeah, he really was. He's an old soul for sure. And
Right.
like everyone says that. Just
Yes.
meeting him, and he connects with everybody.
Mhm.
Usually on shows, you go to the show and you leave.
Mhm.
2 days later, I'm like, who are you talking to? And
Yeah,
it's the producer's
talk
like,
to
he,
people.
Do you
he
feel-
becomes
do you
friends
feel-
with them, and
Do you feel different than other kids at all?
Not really, but
more special.
yeah.
No, and more enlightened.
The only thing that I feel different is that I teach yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about when they're mean to each other or they make fun of each other?
Well, actually,
Does that like make sense to you? Like, do you watch them and like, why are they doing that?
well, sometimes I see them like bullying each other, or other kids, and I stop them.
Yeah. Even before yoga, he was very much.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also when I said, "Here, do you want me to teach you a yoga class?" to some of the kids, they said
They would laugh
yeah,
sometimes.
they'd laugh and
Like,
say,
"That's for
"Yoga's
girls."
yoga's for girls," but
Yeah,
actually,
the boys
Yeah.
say that, right?
but actually, yoga was created by men for men and modified for women.
Amazing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Drop
yeah.
the mic.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do they still
Not
make
know
fun
that.
of you? I'm sorry.
okay.
No, not really.
Are you
No.
kidding me? Now they're all like, "Hey, do you remember when we were in this class together?" He's homeschooled now.
Yeah.
But he's around kids all the time because of my
The
kids.
yoga
Yeah, and
my
let's
yoga
talk about that. But I
studio.
think Arif has. Do you have a question?
No, I was gonna talk about the yoga class, but we could talk about that later.
The homeschool thing. How did you decide for that to be the case? Which I think it's a great decision.
I wish, I don't wish we did it before because everything happens,
For a
perfect
reason?
timing.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he got to teach and,
And
put
I
this out there at
actually taught-
schools.
in my middle school before I went to homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
I taught my whole entire PE class
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
along with the one grade above or 2 grades above my PE class, and it was actually one of the TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
We put them all in the multi-purpose room, and I taught them a class.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
incredible. But he wanted to do homeschooling, but I thought, no, and I wasn't concerned about the social part of it because he's around kids all the time and he's very much makes friends with everybody. He's not shy. But I thought it wouldn't be as challenging. And I didn't think he'd learn as much, but I was wrong because you learn so much
Yeah,
more because
I
you go
learned-
at your level.
And yeah, because sometimes in school, in regular school, I learned some of the stuff that I already knew, and I couldn't just go ahead to the next part because some other kids didn't know. And so, but now in homeschool, I can go at my own pace. So if I know something, I can go through it as fast as I want because I already know it. And then if there's something that I don't know, then I can look at it as much as I want to understand it.
That's cool. I'm not familiar with it at all. So how do you have the same schedule every day and or
No.
just different subject every day?
Well, his is a private homeschool, so it's an
Online.
International Connections Academy.
Fancy.
It's great because the
so the
reason
teachers
why
come home to your
no,
house?
no.
That's how much I know.
No, everything is done
I'm gonna go to
online.
school at home?
No,
Everyone's
everything
new.
is done online. But the reason why is because international. So it's a regular homeschool. You just go to the school once a week and take a test or something.
Okay.
Where because of our schedule, and we're traveling all over the world. So what happened was last year, he was on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
That's live. And then all of a sudden, after the show aired, CNN called us and said, "We need you tomorrow." Then another show was like, "We want you here." And so I was getting so much, what is it, like independent study or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're now at a point where,
and I was getting behind in school.
Yeah, it was hard to keep up
because I couldn't keep up with all the stuff that we were learning.
Do you like
Yeah.
the stuff that you were learning?
Yeah.
You like it? What
at
do you like?
school or like
What?
at
The school
regular
stuff.
school?
Oh, you mean at regular school?
Just your school topics, subjects.
Yeah, I like it.
What's
but
your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is either social studies or science, but I think mostly social studies.
Social
Awesome.
studies.
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Shows.
I don't know. I just like learning about history.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice.
My
I love
favorite is
history.
American
Seriously.
history.
Mhm.
He the great thing about this is it's at his own pace. So right now while he doesn't have filming going on for certain
There's
things,
extra time, more time for
he
school.
can get rid of he finishes one
I can blow
assignment.
through a whole bunch of assignments.
He's almost actually you can tell
Yeah,
him
I'm
what
like 80 or 7. I think like
About
80,
80%
82% done with the whole
entire school year. And people
Wow.
are not even done with their first semester.
Yeah.
So he knocks it out because once he starts filming, he won't have time. So while we're not filming, we just do like 10 assignments a day or 5, whatever it is. And then
Do you worry that him being exposed to all these different types of shows and this type of attention at such a young age before he's completely developed could potentially have some negative effects and consequences like what, say, child stars go through and stuff like that? Do you worry about that?
I don't, just because he's so well grounded and he's not your typical 12-year-old. He never was. So at 5 years old, 6 years old, right now I'm in the car and I'm like, shoot, and he's like, Mama June, like he's very innocent and very he's very sweet and he's very grounded. Like he has so much love around him, and just like even with the dating, like realistically, I trust him. I know he's gonna be. I know he's gonna be respectable.
Did you understand my question? Like what I just asked her right now in terms of like the attention and stuff like that. Do you ever feel like it could be a little too much? It could get to your head?
No, not really.
Not really.
Not really.
There's people that he talks to that come over that are celebrities that
Yeah.
he's friends with. That he's like, hey, let's play Legos together,
Yeah.
and they do it with him. And these are people that you see on movies and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's
And a lot of that
people
has to do with yoga itself too, besides just who he is as a person, because yoga has this thing where it does
Like-
help with the ego, right?
Right.
But he's been, that's what I'm saying, like this, when he's like, Mom, at 6 years old, he was like, Mom, I want to be a yoga teacher so I can help people heal the way yoga helped heal you. And I'm thinking that's cute. He's telling me what he wants to be when he grows up. But he's like, no, like I found my dharma. Like that's what you're supposed to. That's what yoga's about. There's no age. And when you find it, you've got to share it. And this is from a 7-year-old kid, you know, and you don't hear that.
It
from
took
a
me so
normal-
long to understand that. Probably up until 3 years ago, I wasn't aware. But then I realized when you have a gift, your job is to be able to give that gift to the world,
Right.
right? The point of service is not charity, it's to be able to serve. So by
Right.
serving other people, they honor us with fulfilling our purpose. And you
Yeah.
understood that at this age, and that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's been some things that we've been in like a conference room where they've offered him a lot of money for something like a commercial, and he refused to do it without like normally he knows, like we always say, okay, we'll think about it, we'll talk about it, even if it's a yes or no.
Because of what it was.
Because the money wasn't right? I'm kidding.
Yeah, actually it was more than we could have ever imagined.
Right.
But it wasn't what he
It didn't feel right.
it wasn't
Yeah.
what he
It wasn't what I
believed in, what he represented.
represents. Yeah.
And it was the
What,
opposite
what, what,
of
did, what,
yoga.
what did you feel? What part of it were you uncomfortable about?
I just didn't. It wasn't.
Healthy, it wasn't,
Yeah, it wasn't
right.
healthy, it wasn't right.
But he
I
didn't
just-
even look at me. Like normally he's like,
I just
you know,
didn't. I just didn't feel like I would be. I represent that. So if people see me doing that, then they're like, wait, that's not what Tabay does.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well,
And
it
that's
takes a
like- that's
really
so
strong and
sweet.
wise person to do that. Stay this way
Yeah.
forever. Don't
right?
change.
If it was
That's
me, I'd be
awesome.
like, well, how much? I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
Me too.
And a lot of times
Right?
you
No.
meet people
No, I
that
was
have
super
that
proud
energy.
I can see like
Yeah.
Tabay dragging you out the room.
No.
Like, come on, let's just sign the
No,
contract. I'm kidding.
no,
I'm kidding.
I wouldn't have, but I always tell him like, okay, so he's now getting into acting, and you know, there's all these different opportunities. But after that, I thought I'm good. Like I don't ever have to worry about him because he knows exactly what is right and what he's showing. And he's like, if I'm going to be an actor, if I'm going to be in any movies or TV shows, it's going to be so that I can use my celebrity status to promote yoga and
Wow.
veganism and, you know, and
Yeah.
all this health stuff. And he's like, he's like, you see a celebrity, they say, oh, we like this car. And then all of us want to
Well,
go
one
buy
of the
that
most
car.
important things is outside of your mother, I'm sure having role models and mentors is important too.
Right.
Do you put them around people that?
Deepak, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting, we're at Oprah. No, yeah, he's around really good people. We hang out with, you know, like yoga people, like people who have, and even if not, like we want to help those people who are not. But he's around me, my brother, my parents,
Okay.
you know, my family all the
Surrounded
time.
by love. Whoever's around him is like pure love.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What are you doing with Deepak?
What have you done already?
Already, I've taught with Deepak. I taught a class
Mm-hmm.
How many
For-
people?
like 400 people,
Wow.
Yeah.
and
That's a big class.
Where at?
It was at the Chopra Center.
Okay.
At the bottom of the Omni La Costa, where Deepak's center is.
The headquarters.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, and they want him to be the wellness ambassador for his wellness app.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Are you excited about that?
yeah, I'm excited.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how did you get into teaching?
Well, so when I saw that my mom was healing from yoga,
Mm-hmm.
and you heard her say that, I said I want to spread yoga so I could help others heal the way yoga helped heal you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked her, like, I want to teach yoga, I want to teach yoga ever since I was 6 until I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I was finished with elementary school and I was in summer break, my mom gave me the choice. She said, okay, if you're really legit about this and you really want to do it, then I'll give you a choice. You could either do intensive 200-hour training,
Mm-hmm.
or you could travel to Europe, to places that you've never been. And I love to travel, but without hesitation,
You
I
chose yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And she didn't have a class or anything at that point. You were just doing yoga. You weren't teaching.
Well,
or
I
you
didn't
have
finish my
anything.
story. What happened
Yeah.
was I met this lady
Okay.
finally, and I got into a training. by accident, I met her for coffee, for tea or something, and then I happened to walk in, and she was about to start a training, and I could barely walk. And everyone there was like, "You're here for a reason, stay." And that's how it happened. So he was there with me, and then that was my first certificate. And then I love kids, so I went, and I was like, I wish I had yoga in my life when I was a kid. I would have dealt with a lot of things in my life a lot better.
Definitely.
And so I opened up the first kids yoga studio in Orange County, but I went and got 14 different specialty certificates, and he was with me.
Yeah.
His first
Wow.
certificate
My
was
first at 7 years old.
yeah. So I've been a teacher, but he's helped me at schools and at my studio.
And it's
so,
your own place.
Yeah, yeah.
How's it doing?
It's amazing. Well, I mean,
You
nobody
guys should
wants my
come.
classes anymore.
Really, all go to him?
Everyone goes to him now. I mean, I was
You
like,
Are they
should
are they
the
paying
last-
are they paying you well?
Well,
Blink
do.
twice if they're not. Just go like this. Go like this. No, I'm kidding.
That's fine.
and
good.
but at my mom's yoga studio, I teach 100% donation-based yoga classes, and all the money I make from the donations I give to kids who have cancer.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
You guys should come.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah, you guys
I'll
really
come.
should. It's a very good class. I mean, people that have been doing yoga for years, you think, oh, a 12-year-old, you know, but it's the energy, it's the practice, it's the words. It's like people leave with tears, like how he touches them, you know.
It's purity, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
when
you're
he taught
spreading
for
it. You're doing
Deepak,
it.
when he taught for Deepak, people were lining up afterwards to take pictures of him, and Deepak is walking around, and people are stopping to take pictures with him. Like, thank you for this amazing class. Like, it really touches people. But
Do you meditate at all?
Yeah, I meditate.
Do you like it?
I like it a lot. It makes me calm when it makes me relax when I need to, and energized when I need to.
Exactly.
Right.
Energized.
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. So, were your family okay with you dating outside of your race?
They didn't really mind. I was born here. All my siblings were born here. My parents have been here for 49 years. So I think the middle sister, I'm the youngest of the daughters. There's 4 of us, 2 older sisters and a younger brother. She kind of broke the ice because she got divorced, you know.
Okay.
And
That's
then
the first,
and then I was married to a Persian when I was like 20. And
Ew.
then, yeah. Did you say ew or who?
Ew. Same thing. No.
That's what my sisters say. Both of them are married to American, or were married to American men.
Very nice.
And so, but no, I mean, they probably weren't ecstatic, you know, but then, you know, after Tabay came along, then it's like.
They came around? Yeah.
They came around before that. I mean, they just kind of go with the flow of everything. Like, they don't really have a choice because they know that we just kind of would do our thing. If we didn't, you know, like, they could say no, but they never, it was never like that. It was like, hey, this is what we're doing, you know? But no, they love it. They actually are even more so later on, like, why would you marry a Persian? Not that Persians are bad, like, but it does.
Not why would you have to absolutely marry a Persian? Like,
yeah.
no,
Oh no,
right?
they
So-
weren't telling me like I had to, but
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, that was the question. Like, not that you shouldn't marry a Persian, but you could. You should marry
like
whoever,
anybody
right?
you want, whoever. My parents always said, whoever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy, we're gonna support you. But they'll tell me, I think this. I don't think this person is good for you.
Pretty much
you
what
know,
you're doing with Tabay. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm actually worse. I'm like, are you kidding me? I am like ridiculously. I tell him like I've gone away with so many things. I was like, so good luck because I've been there, done that. So you can't even try to
not
get
only the
past
race,
me.
she wants to choose a specific person.
And then I, you know, a lot of, you know, Persians, like, we are very much, you know, it's very good, like, you know, with cooking and stuff. So I like, he knows how to make horma sabzi and kotlet and lubia polo. So I'm like, no girl can impress you with cooking.
No.
You know?
No.
You got it all
Number one
down.
way to a man's heart. Yeah.
That's what I
You
mean,
blocked it.
right? So it's going to be tough.
Now,
No.
one of the things they say, like especially with my black friends that have white mothers, a lot of times they say there's some sort of a disconnect with being black and having a different color mother. I hear that a lot. They maybe, I don't know, like I have this half white, half black friend. She says that her mother didn't even know what to do with her hair, for example.
Oh, so
You know, but a lot of
funny.
cultural things
No,
that
right.
like a black person goes through in America
Yeah.
where sometimes the other parent won't understand.
Yeah.
Do you experience any of that yet, or do you anticipate that coming, or what's your take on this?
No, not at all. Well, I've raised him, so
Right.
My dad does my hair for me.
Nice.
doesn't. When he's
When I was
who
little,
hurt? Yeah, when he was little,
Who
he would.
cornrows it? Yeah.
No, he doesn't even know how to do that. I take him to a place to do that, a salon. But
That's funny.
no, you know.
But do you know what I
just-
mean? Because
Yeah,
it doesn't relate to you.
it
though.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
and to him, like I just good is good. You
Mm.
know, black, white, Asian, Mexican, Persian. I just want a good girl for him, like someone like my dream is like someone who's like practicing yoga since they were a kid at my studio and grows up, and you know, like they're both just peaceful, happy, and
Yeah.
I don't want people taking advantage of him. And he's so sweet and generous and genuine. I am like beyond overprotective Persian mom. Like I don't need to be now because he's so innocent. Oh my god, I hope it lasts forever. But he's I don't know. I mean, he's been around my family. He speaks Farsi. He would
You
go
speak
to
Farsi?
He can
Yeah.
tell, he
That's
can
awesome.
sing the Persian national anthem for you guys.
Wow.
I mean, he can write. I could write. I play piano Persian. Like I played the Persian wedding song for my sister.
And, and you can also play Anar.
Anna, yeah, I play, yeah. So I don't. it
That's
doesn't-
interesting.
Wanna-
You're exposed to so many different cultures, huh?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask him if he wants to sing a little bit.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You want to?
Other stuff.
And
I'd
I
love
know
to hear it.
one,
Sing it.
I can do the
two-
beat.
You okay? Go ahead.
Okay.
You guys have to sing with him at parts that he forgets. Go.
ای ایران ای مرز پختوهر ای خواهد سرچشمه هنر دور از تو اندیشه بران پایان مانی تو جاوران سنگ خوب که این جان من فرار خاک پاک میهونم مهر تو شاد شان پیش شدم دور از تو نیست اندیشدم در راه تو که ارزشی داره این جان ما پایان بار خاک ایران ما.
Bravo.
That's
Nice,
awesome.
man.
Also
That's
for,
what's up. Good
Persian
job.
New Year. There was
A play.
there was a play for half scene, and my part of the play was the garlic sear,
Yeah.
and I said من سیرمو لذیذم یک کمی تند و تیزم نزدیک عید نوروز با طبل حاجی فیروز عید شما مبارک عید شما مبارک.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
It. I love it. It is good.
Yeah.
And
Nice, man.
my grandma taught me چش دو ابرو دماغ دهن
Yeah,
یگردی
yeah.
چوب شکمپه این پسرم گشنگه.
Nice. I don't even remember half my own lyrics.
Oh
but
my
it's good to
gosh,
know
I
that.
love
So you have a good
it.
memory.
That
That's
is
cool.
great.
Yeah. So he's around everybody. I mean,
So close to both sides, have a little bit of both sides. Yeah. very
Yeah.
cool.
Like we'll go visit his dad's side of the family. He's
Are
you
they
know,
local or out
They
of
live
state?
in LA. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but he's mostly like around my family. But
It's got all types
That's
of soul.
very good.
yeah.
Because I have a
he
few
really
half cousins,
does.
like half Brazilian, half different things, and
Oh my
they don't
God.
really speak Farsi, or they're not, they don't know
No
much about
one.
the culture.
I've got 7 nieces and nephews. None of them speak it, read it, write it, and even like my siblings. And I was like following my grandma at 8 years old. Can you teach me how to do the namas? Can you teach me how to like make ornaments? Like I was like that kind of kid, and I always wanted to learn how to write. And so for him, he was the same. Like I wanted him to learn, and he wanted to. And I just think it's really important. Even though we were born here, we should know it. Like,
Yeah.
his cousins are like, oh my gosh, you said salam, like, and my nephews and nieces are like blonde hair, blue eyes, like they don't even look like they're this much Persian, you know?
Yeah.
Now you
You
mentioned
know what,
namas.
I mean, I was gonna say about the school thing. I went to school here, so, and I noticed a lot of the kids who are. I was born in Iran. I always traveled back and forth my whole life. My family, same thing. My dad came here in 1961, and my whole family just
Okay.
came back and forth. But in school, up until the end of high school, a lot of people are like that, like, oh, you speak Farsi, or like, a lot of people are like
Right.
that. But in college, when people grow up and
It's
they get
cool,
to know themselves
right?
more
It
and they
becomes-
change,
yeah.
they want to go back to the roots, and so they
Yeah.
kind of try to speak Farsi.
Yeah, and so he's already ahead of the game.
Very cool.
He would go to school with like lubia polo, for lunch. No joke. Like,
Oh, and
Americans love
yeah.
that, by the
And-
way. I think.
Tachin I used to have for lunch at school. And my grandma used to make cutlet for me.
Nice.
Kids don't make fun of that.
No.
I remember kids used to make fun of me for
one
cutlets.
time,
I'm scarred.
My one of some of my students, at lunchtime, they said, "Ew, what is that?" I said, "Here, try a bite." And then every time that I had it, everyone was like, "Oh, can I have some? Can I have some?"
That's when you start charging them.
Right, there you go.
Wait till you take some like Fez send you into school. That's
That's the thing. Everything
That's
changes.
risky. That's risky.
Tabay, so what's your plans with this thing that you're doing overall? Like, what's your mission?
My mission is to reach as many people as I can and put yoga into their lives, and heal as many people as I can who are sick or ill. I want to heal them through the power of yoga.
That's beautiful.
That's fantastic.
That's
I love
beautiful.
it.
And I want to share. I want to spread yoga throughout the whole entire world.
I love that.
Yeah.
He touches my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Thank you.
He's such a good kid.
Thanks. He really is a good boy. I know all moms say that, but he really is.
No, he really
right?
is. I know.
Like,
My mom said the same thing, but I wouldn't. Very
oh
different.
my god! But he
She's
does
still like-
everything. Like he does his yoga, he skateboards.
I build Legos.
He built. Oh, and then you've got a coin collection.
I collect coins.
Oh, you like collecting things?
Yeah.
I loved it too.
And when I was in first grade, I used to collect bottle caps. Then I used to collect. I don't know. I just collected
Different things.
Yeah, different things.
You know, my talking about being scarred. I collected a lot of things when I was a kid and had full collections of them. I was like very adamant. Took my time to find these things. So the last time I was in Iran, I left. I was 15, and I left them in our basement of our home. In this, I don't know exactly where I put them in this cupboard. And so I asked my dad years later, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing here. And my brother goes to Iran, comes to find out my dad. He threw all of it out. Everything.
Oh.
stamps.
All these, you know, in the gums like that, all this soccer collections.
cards?
Then there was like these other, like there's all these Turkish gums with different like cartoon stuff that I had.
and I also
Rocks,
used-
different stones. I
collect crystals, rocks,
Coins.
coins.
Bills,
I used
right?
I used to collect Pokemon cards, but now it's just rocks, crystals, coins, and Legos.
He's got
Nice.
he's
Rocks,
got a
crystals, and
safe-
Yeah, I have a
That
safe.
sounds like a
I
rap
have
song.
a safe as tall as I am, full to the limit of coins,
and,
Wow.
and like old
like
dollars,
the old
and
dollar
stuff.
bills, and
They'll get expensive
and
one day.
actually, my grandma saved me a coin. She said that they don't make those anymore. It's 1,000 real.
Oh yeah. Like super old school, really
And-
old one.
and,
Very nice.
My grandma said if you go to Iran, you can buy a cello kebab with that.
Do you ever want to? Do you
No.
have plans of going visiting or no?
Oh
Oh.
yeah, I want to go to Iran.
He
That's
wants
one.
to go
That's
so
on the
bad.
top of my
Yeah.
list of places I want
You
to
love
go.
it. People.
They'll love
He
you.
wants to
Yeah.
go
They will.
so
You think you're getting
bad.
attention here? Watch when you go there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, everywhere, like he goes, like we're in New York or
Mhm.
Aspen or DC, and we won't
Mm.
even get out of it.
Where was it?
The pilot, like
Oh, yeah,
the pilots will recognize him, and then they'll be like,
Usually,
"We got a celebrity
I
on."
used to like. I remember I used to take. I used to like taking pictures with the pilots before a flight. But now the pilots want to take pictures with me.
That's awesome.
That's interesting. You guys are doing a great job with making sure you're making as many contacts as possible. Because in my yoga studio, when I was asking my instructors, like, do you have something good? I have a kid that's about to come on the show, and they knew you, from a magazine or like a random episode. I was like, and there was different places. It wasn't just like one place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
So you
the
got a
thing,
good
it's
manager.
Like, wow, right?
Mama knows best.
This all started, someone said that they just came back from Egypt.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was
And-
another radio show we
Yeah,
did.
and I got a call and saying that I'm in the airport of Egypt, and I was telling this person who was there that I did a radio show with this really awesome kid, and the guy said, who is he? And he said, oh, Tabay Atkins. And he said, I know him.
Oh,
From
wow.
all in
Egypt.
Egypt.
And then your
Wow,
dad
you're
said in
global.
Switzerland.
Oh yeah, my dad said from Finland. I think it was.
That was at the
Finland?
beginning.
What-
Now,
Switzerland?
What's your favorite appearance that you've done so far?
Aside from
Think about it.
it.
Yeah, obviously.
Nomad.
Say this one
First,
first. You want to take that part out and just repeat it all the time.
no, really, which ones? I know. I already know you have a few.
I have a few.
Give me the first one though.
The first one.
Is it a
Harry
child?
Connick Jr.
Why?
Mhm.
Or the home of
Because it was funny. Harry was he was really funny
Uh-huh.
and he was really nice. Like during the
Playful.
segment and before the segment, and we were just talking to each other.
Yeah, I saw that one. That
And,
was cool.
I also like Home and Family
Mhm.
because I got to participate in all the other segments, not just me. It was me teaching a yoga class,
Mhm.
but also I didn't just do that and then leave. I got to participate in everyone else's segments.
Wow.
Oh, remember the person in the Universal Studios?
Oh yeah.
Have you guys been to Universal
So-
Studios?
Yeah,
A
I was
long
there.
time
You know
ago.
that
There was like a
that
bus
takes you
where
by-
a tour of all of
it takes
like
you to see Jaws, whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
the
go by
tram
the
tour,
little
tram
train
yeah.
tracks and
And-
yeah.
so it was a break before I was on air, and
They said, "Oh, just walk around.
yeah, just walk. You can walk around. There's gonna be a Jaws set over here.
The set's here.
Yeah,
we walked
and-
actually onto a
yeah,
movie
we,
set.
we walked onto a movie
By
set.
accident.
Oh no, my dad and I were just going to walk around. So we walked. Oh, look at all those people there, and they're like all wearing like Italian, like old Italian clothes.
Yeah, like gangster
and
mobster.
then my dad
Prince
walks
Rap.
in with like a Samsung watch and like Barbie clothes.
That's so funny.
But this is the
and
best
then
part.
someone walked up to said, "Oh, you guys can't be here right now. There's a movie." Oh, because we didn't know that there was a
Because
movie.
they're
there.
all like the set. It's
Yeah.
just, you
ready.
know.
But when we were on the break, I saw a tour bus, and then I saw some.
People were waving.
Yeah, people were waving, and then someone said, "Tabay," and my mom said,
Oh,
"Look, someone
recognized
recognized you." I was like, "Wait, no, that's one of my students."
Isn't that
Yeah, and I was actually
Such a-
supposed to see. I was
that
actually
night.
supposed to see her that night for a class that my dad and I were teaching.
How fun.
because they did
Nice.
a Lego
Yeah,
class.
we-
But before all this happened, when we went to Universal Studios just for fun, like after cancer, we went on that tour and then they showed us. So this is where this movie was played. And what did I say? I
She
said
said, "Someday, inshallah, you're going to be on."
people
you're
are
going
going to
to
be
be there.
here watching you, like doing a
Oh
tour.
yeah,
and
yeah.
and
That's the
you're
movie
gonna
where Tabay was in.
And I have chills every time I think about this because then now, look, we were there and I was like,
Yeah.
look,
Wow.
we're here exactly like
That's
4
crazy
years
that we
later.
talked
Yeah.
about it.
And then someone is on that bus where I was and they're like, "Hey, Tabay," and it's like,
That's
oh my
beautiful.
God,
That's
it's
really
crazy.
Anything annoying ever from people like that recognize you? Anybody like?
Oh, the only thing that bothers me is before I get onto a set, I have to put on makeup.
He ran away from
Oh yeah, on the doctor show.
He got away.
My dad was getting makeup.
No,
And
that
he-
was
and-
on CNN.
Yeah, no, that,
Oh, yeah,
no,
you're
that
right,
was
you're right, you're
on the
right.
doctor show.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to be next, so as he was doing it, I ran away and went into the green room. and then until I was supposed to go on the
A
stage. But that didn't work on CNN. They said, "Tabay, it's your turn." I was like, "Oh no!" And they're like powdering me up.
I know.
And then I came back to school one day, and some of the students said, "You look a little bit different today." I said, "Yeah, I'm wearing makeup."
I hate that too for music videos when they want to do. I'm like, it's cool. You're shiny. You need to get.
Yeah,
that.
but they tell you it's
Yeah.
TV makeup,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, it's not
there's
really makeup. It's
lighting
just for the
everywhere.
light. Exactly.
But I think, I mean, he's so positive about everything. But like I was saying, he wants to reach out and connect and comment back with everybody.
Yeah.
But like when he taught for like 500 people in Las
Oh,
Vegas,
yeah.
Mhm.
and for hours, like it was like a 2-hour intense, like vinyasa class.
Yeah.
And
Or
people
and like
and people wanted to. There was a line of people wanting to take pictures, talk to him, and he was hungry.
have
and he's
footages of that?
tired. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I can.
Can you
share
send us
with-
some of
yeah,
that so we can
absolutely.
insert it into our
Yeah,
thing? That'd
totally.
be good.
You
Yeah.
love that.
And people were there, like they didn't want to leave, and finally he was like, and he's got a smile, and he was happy, but
then
you're tired, you're
and,
hungry,
and my stomach was starting to hurt a little bit.
and he was like, Mom and Gina was like, "Sorry everyone, like we'll see you next time." And they're like following us to the car, like, "Oh my gosh, Tabay,"
That's dope.
and yeah, but everywhere.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I meant more like as far as people recognizing you, or was anything annoying, like people on the
No.
street or anything like that? Nothing like that yet.
And
Okay.
on
It
all
will
like,
happen.
so many flights,
then
the
go to
pilots will announce like for like not just like a quick second, for like a couple
5 minutes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
5 minutes. They're talking about, oh my gosh, we've got Tabay, and everyone starts clapping, and then one actually coming back from Hawaii, it was someone that worked with Cameron Diaz.
Oh, wow.
So we got out of the plane and she waited for us, and she's like, I had to meet you when the pilot said it. 'Cause you never know,
That's
who's on the
crazy. Who's on
flight,
there.
right? And who's friends with who knows who. So he just did an interview for Cameron Diaz and her book, the body book, and he made it in it, which
wow.
is super exciting.
Oh, cool.
And then also on the flight from San Francisco, the pilot announced it, and then we got a call or a submission on our website from somebody from a shoe company that wanted to see if we can work something out too.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Nice.
it's like all these things crazy. But
How,
it's
how did,
nice.
speaking of shoes, how did the thing happen with the Louis Vuitton situation? I
Oh,
noticed.
yeah.
I noticed your red bottom. Yeah,
That was so cool.
flossing.
Met the man.
Right?
It's every girl's dream.
He so he went to an event
Yeah,
with
I
me,
came to an event,
Mm.
and it was the first time that Christian was at that store,
Mm-hmm.
and he was spending like 30 seconds with each person there.
if that.
Yeah, if that, and then all of a sudden, I said, hi, I said, here, I want to give you these articles that I've been on, and I signed it for him.
He signed it for him.
and then he was reading them, and I said, and then like his assistant said, here, I'll hold this on so you can read at home, and he said,
he's
no,
like,
it's
no,
okay.
no, I
said,
wanna read it.
wanna
Yeah,
read
yeah.
it. And then he was spending like 30 minutes with me,
Uh-huh.
Doing
just
yoga.
talking to me, yeah, doing yoga with me,
cool.
and it was
You were
really,
telling
yeah.
him about the
I
Paris
was telling him
store.
about one of his stores in Paris that I've been to.
And he was so impressed, like
And-
this
and-
10,
and he
11-year-old.
He said, which one was it? And I was like describing the store to him, and he was like, oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I remember.
Like,
Now
yeah.
that you should have got a lifetime supply of that for your mom.
Well,
Good
I
stuff.
know, right? I wish. And then he, everyone had to. He took him in the back, like with him, and gave him a business
A
card
business card
holder,
holder
and
as a
then
present.
signed his shoes and.
Wow, that's so
Actually,
cool.
I'd never
Some
seen him
cool
before
stuff.
till I saw your video. He looked very different than I expected.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people, they were like, "Oh my gosh, I recognize you from this show and that show."
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So, what are the things that's in the works right now? And I think we're close to our last 10 minutes or so. So let's make it more about the things that you guys want to talk about more than
Okay.
anything else.
I love you.
I love you.
Not to each other. To
I know,
other people.
I know.
You have more than 10 minutes for that. but
Yeah. Gosh, what is not in the works? So he's
Word.
been hosted like all around the world. They're like flying us to, well, we were supposed to go to Tokyo for a week in November and then 3 weeks in Australia. And he's already done a TV show. Australia's version of Our Good Morning America is the
Okay.
morning
Yeah.
show. So we've done that, but from LA. And then, so we were supposed to go on their show there, and he was going to teach at the different places there, like Adelaide and Brisbane and Sydney. But I just needed a break from traveling because we were nonstop.
Yeah.
Literally, we were back home for one day, and that one day I taught yoga class at the studio. And so our suitcases were never unpacked. And
And we always like had one suitcase
Ready
that was
to go.
always packed, ready to go.
yeah. And so, he's been doing that, and there's a couple of amazing things in the pipeline that he can't mention,
Yeah,
but he
can't-
is
some
on
of the
his
stuff
social
I can't
media.
say right now.
Okay.
When he's able to do some kind of teasers and stuff.
Yeah.
But all very exciting
Very cool.
things.
What about these waters?
Oh yeah, this is Flow Water.
Water.
They're sponsoring him, and we're
Very cool. We got our own. We're doing taste tests. Right now. No, we support Flow.
Flow. He actually did. He took a picture and he did side crow with it on him, and he called it side flow, which was kind of
I
creative.
like that. Yeah.
But he does, his donation classes, and we teach privates. He does privates for everybody.
Yeah.
Celebrities in LA, like neighbors and just regular people. And what else, baby?
I'm doing yoga mats.
Oh yeah, that's right.
T-shirts.
He's got T-shirts that the Tabay shirts.
And Tabay yoga mats.
Tabay yoga mats.
Oh,
if
wow.
anybody wants to order any,
Good quality?
Yeah.
oh yeah, everything is
Yeah.
great quality. It's like the Gucci of yoga.
Ah, I like that. Nice shirt, by the way.
Right.
I love it. That's a really nice shirt.
That's cool.
Your mom's got good taste, or is it you?
No, it's actually.
This is
Really?
my favorite outfit.
You picked it out
Yeah,
yourself?
a
I
little
like it.
tour.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're wearing.
Yeah, he wants a contract with them.
Hey, play glam
Hey.
music.
No, I gotta
Insert
play that.
Kardashian.
Hold on,
Glam
hold on. Let's represent. What are shoes though?
What?
Yeah, let me see the
Gucci
shoes.
too.
Gucci
Gotta play some Lil Pump.
And then
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang,
Gucci
Gucci gang.
jeans, Gucci belt,
Mm.
and I have my Gucci jacket in the car.
Oh,
That's true. I ain't mad at that.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Oh, gosh.
Tabay, is there anything that you would like to
Spread into the
say, end with, whatever you want to say?
Yoga's for everyone,
Mm.
and people who think that yoga is not for them, then just think
Get out of
about my
your ego.
mom,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because she had never done yoga before. She
Mhm.
just got out of the hospital, not even able to walk, and she got instead of just going into a yoga class, she did a 200-hour training.
Yeah.
So if she can do a 200-hour training after coming out of the hospital with cancer, then anyone can do yoga.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I agree.
Seriously, and it's benefited me so
Yeah.
much.
What? Anything you'd like to say?
No, this was amazing. It was great being here with you guys. Really
I
good
had a lot of
energy. I know he's gonna talk about it in the car. He always tells me his favorites and what he likes, and I already can
Nice.
feel it because I'm his mom.
Please.
But yeah, he's doing a lot of things. Also, we're coming up with something where he's going to be teaching online classes
Mhm.
Yeah.
for people around the world because he's got a big following.
And
Like,
some of the people who are in like different countries, they can't come to my class.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I'm going to be teaching online.
that's
That's
amazing. I
fantastic.
was actually gonna
Yeah.
say I have a lot of connections in like Dubai and that part of the world. I would love to connect you guys. You know, spread the
Yeah.
love to that side too. You know, that'd be
yeah,
very
and that's what it's all about. We just want to keep sharing and spreading this message and love and health and, just good energy because it's going to help make the world a better
That's
place,
what it's all
right?
about.
The more
And,
people that
yeah,
know
I
about
believe
yoga,
that if everyone in the world practices yoga,
not just a physical practice,
like,
but everything.
Mhm.
every part of yoga, then the world would be a better place.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it will happen. Some
Yeah.
people say one day it's going to be the yogis that are going to kind of be the
yoga's-
presidents and all that.
yoga-
So you're on the right
yoga's
track.
taking over the world right now.
Yeah.
Slowly but
So-
surely.
someone-
We're almost there right now.
Someone
right?
asked him,
Okay.
"Oh my God, you could be the president." He's like, "No, I won't have time for Lego."
Well,
You think? You
I
wanna hear a
just-
thing?
They just play with bigger Legos. Same thing.
Soiljan, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
honoring us.
you.
Thank you for bringing him
Of
this wonderful,
course.
young, beautiful man. It was such an honor to be in
Thank
presence,
you.
little brother, even though you're bigger than me in a lot of different ways. So
Thank
you
you.
honored us. Thank you
Aw,
for
thank
blessing
Thank
us.
you for
And
having me.
I'm so proud of just who you are as a human being.
Thank you.
And your beautiful spirit. So
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much.
You want to finish it up with your
Think good thoughts.
think good thoughts,
Speak kind words.
speak kind
Kind
words.
words.
Mhm.
Everybody,
Oh, everybody. I thought it's
Speak
just
kind
okay.
words.
Speak kind words. Okay.
Feel love.
feel,
Feel
love,
love.
Be love.
be
Be
love,
love.
And give love.
and
And
give
give
love.
love.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank
Cultish.
you.
I like it. I like it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe as usual. You're not gonna say subscribe this time.
He got it. He got
Subscribe. No?
it. It's
Subscribe.
finally figured it out.
Don't forget
Alright.
to follow Tabay too.
Oh yeah. It's
Thank you.
We're gonna
Yeah.
put the thing
Oh,
on there.
put the thing.
Follow Tabay.
Follow
Oh,
Tabay.
Follow
Everybody
Tabay.
follow Tabay.
If you love me, follow to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
All right,
guys.
no
Nomad
matter.
out.
Yeah.